Where's home? That is a question that I have wrestled with my entire life. I don't know where my home is. Where are you from? I have no clue. And that's because I grew up in 3 countries: Australia, Argentina, and the US. I've also lived in Spain and Italy and worked in Uganda, China. I started noticing as I was trying to assimilate into different cultures, we're all the same. We just might dress differently, look differently, have different cultures, different mannerisms, different ways of doing things, but we're all the same. We need community. We need to belong, and kind of at the root of that, maybe we need to know where home is. I guess you're probably wondering, who am I? Well, I'm Leoden. I always get a little bit tongue-tied when I need to introduce myself because I'm never really sure of what to focus on, so I guess I'll just start with the lens in which I view the world, because ultimately that's probably what matters the most. Well, my worldview is shaped definitely by my multicultural upbringing. The truth is, while I'm so grateful for it, it really wasn't always easy. With every move, I'd have to say goodbye to everything that I knew. So whole worlds, food, language, music, culture. And really the hardest of all was saying goodbye to my communities. Doing this over and over as a child was a pretty big deal because the identities of children are still forming, so each place would become a part of me, but so would every loss. I remember moving from Argentina to Middle America, where suddenly I wasn't in this culturally provocative environment that at the time that I was living there was also dealing with political unrest, but I was also then thrust into this very religious community in the US. So it always makes me laugh because my schemas were constantly changing. But there was something magic about this though, because it allowed me to see how things could be done in so many different ways, that there were many schools of thought, and I was a little bit confused, to tell you the truth, at least about who I was, because my culture was a mix of cultures. But one thing I was never really confused about was how diversity is the most beautiful thing about our planet. And I often feel frustrated when I encounter people who view the world in black and white, because to me it's just so clear that there are so many different ways to live. And growing up, I actually internalized these beliefs to mean that there was something wrong with me and my culture. And it's something that I've really been working through during my adulthood, that I'm valid. And my childhood was spent trying to understand the worlds I navigated. I didn't really know how to create myself because I was so busy learning the rules and how to operate within the places I found myself in as they shifted. Before I could play the game and integrate, I really needed to know how the systems operated. So I became an observer, and I was fascinated by human behavior. I didn't know it back then, but these experiences essentially trained me to be a scientist. I ended up pursuing a career in neuroscience and anthropology, where I worked in basic research for years. I worked in lab and field research and even observed the social dynamics of chimpanzees, trying to understand what makes us tick. It was everything to me, and it gave me a sense of stability that I really didn't otherwise have. Looking back, I guess I was searching for something, for answers of some kind. I really didn't know what I was searching for then, but now I think I've been searching for home my whole life. That question, where is home, has been driving everything I've done. So I'm on a mission to find out what home means on a bigger scale than I ever have before. I want to take you along with me as I document what I learn as I go around the world, trying to answer this question from as many different perspectives as I can. I really think that this project is important right now. Oh, ciao. Guarda. I have this cute little friend with me. I think this topic is super important. It doesn't just affect me, it affects every single human on this planet, but particularly in a time, in a world that is becoming increasingly divisive. How we categorize each other, how we treat each other, how we open our doors to one another is vital. We've always been a migratory species, yet the way that we treat immigration these days is very in-group, out-group mentality. The world needs to expand its definition of what home means, what it means to belong, what it means to be part of a community, and what that means for identity, because we don't all just come from one place. Humanity is complex and contradictory sometimes, and we need our definition of these things to allow for multiple truths to coexist, because at the end of the day, they already do in the many different ways we build our homes and cultures around the world. And I want to give a voice to these differences. The question, where's home, shouldn't demand a singular response, but allow for nuance, because home isn't only tied to geography. Its definition is colorful, and that's what I want to explore with you through this series. Now, I don't know why exactly, but I felt called to Bali, Indonesia to begin this project. It's kind of funny because most people who go to Bali have a similar start to their story there. They don't know why they felt called there, but they do, and the answer is usually revealed to them. Some say it's as if the island calls to you because it has something to give you or teach you. Well, that was certainly true for me. So I packed up a bag from Italy and set out on what was supposed to be a 2-week trip, which ended up turning into more than 2 months.